Is Ethiopia truly 7 years behind the rest of the world? Hey, I'm Bisi Akins, and in today's episode of All Things Africa, we are going to explore all there is to know about the Ethiopian calendar and their intriguing concept of time. So let's get right into it. To understand Ethiopia's calendar system, we must delve into its rich historical context. Ethiopia, one of the oldest civilizations in the world, is a country renowned for its unique characteristics. Often referred to as the cradle of humanity and the birthplace of coffee, its heritage dates back thousands of years, with ancient civilizations like the legendary Kingdom of Axum laying the foundation for its cultural identity. This historical richness is mirrored in its unique calendar system. The Ethiopian calendar, also known as the Ge'ez calendar, is used by the Eritrean Orthodox Tewahedo Church and retains deep cultural and religious roots. It is based on a unique combination of solar and lunar cycles, distinguishing it from the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar, which is now universally used, was introduced by Pope Gregory VIII in 1582 to replace the Julian calendar. This is because the Julian calendar had inaccuracies in estimating the length of the year, causing a gradual shift in the timing of seasons and important events. The Gregorian calendar corrected this drift and better aligned the calendar year with the solar year and the timing of Easter, which is why it became the dominant calendar worldwide. So how does the Ethiopian calendar actually work? Unlike the Gregorian calendar, which has 12 months, the Ethiopian calendar has 13 months. 12 of these months each have 30 days, and the 13 months, called Pagume, has 5 or 6 days depending on whether it's a leap year. This system traces its origins to ancient Coptic calendar, which was derived from the Egyptian solar calendar. The Gregorian calendar, on the other hand, is a solar calendar based on the Earth's orbit around the Sun. It features months varying in lengths, typically between 28 to 31 days. To keep the calendar year synchronized with the solar year, a leap year occurs every 4 years, adding an extra day to the month of February. This adjustment ensures that the calendar remains aligned with the Earth's position in orbit and the change in seasons. Now, with this being said, the question still lies as to why Ethiopia remains 7 years behind the rest of the world. Well, it all comes down to the birth of Jesus. The Ethiopian calendar begins from 7 BC, which they believe to be the birth year of Jesus, while the Gregorian calendar starts at 1 AD. Let's break this down. Before Jesus was born, years were counted backwards, denoted as BC, meaning before Christ. After his birth, years are counted forwards, labeled as AD, meaning Anno Domini, or in the year of our Lord. So if we start from 7 BC, the Ethiopian calendar counts the years forwards like this: 7 BC, 6 BC, 5 BC, 4 BC, 3 BC, 2 BC, 1 BC, and then 1 AD. That's 8 years from 7 BC to 1 AD. Due to these differences in dating the birth of Jesus and other astronomical calculation, the Ethiopian calendar falls about 7 to 8 years behind the Gregorian calendar. To further illustrate this, the Gregorian calendar observes the New Year on January 1st and Christmas on December 25th. In contrast to Ethiopia's New Year, known as Enkutatsh, falls on September 11th in the Gregorian calendar, except in a leap year when it shifts to September 12th, and the Ethiopian Christmas, called Jena, is celebrated on January 7th. In the Ethiopian calendars, these dates correspond to Meskerem 1st for New Year's and Tassas 29th for Christmas. In Ethiopia, it's not only the calendar that's unique, their approach to time is different too. The Ethiopian day starts at sunrise, which is considered 12 a.m. in their system. So when it's 6 a.m. elsewhere, it's 12 a.m. in Ethiopia. Midday, known as 12 p.m. globally, is 6 a.m. in Ethiopia, and sunset, which is typically 6 p.m. worldwide, is 12 p.m. in Ethiopia. Essentially, the sun and the moon each get 12 hours. The first cycle starts at sunrise and ends at sunset, while the second cycle starts at sunset and ends at sunrise. To make this clearer, in Ethiopia, sunrise is at 12 a.m., midday at 6 a.m., and sunset at 12 p.m. Globally, sunrise is typically at 6 a.m., midday at 12 p.m., and sunset at 6 p.m. As aforementioned, Ethiopia is renowned for its unique characteristics, including its distinct calendar and time system. Despite being the only country to operate this way, Ethiopia's unique timekeeping has been preserved and promoted by Ethiopians both on the continent and in the diaspora. This resilience and commitment to maintaining their traditional calendar can be attributed to Ethiopia's resistance to colonial rule. Unlike many other African nations, Ethiopia is one of the only 2 countries in Africa that successfully repelled European colonization, thereby proudly retaining its independence and cultural identity. So, what did we actually learn in today's episode? Firstly, we learned that the Kingdom of Aksum served as the cradle of Ethiopian civilization, leaving a lasting imprint on the country's history and culture. Secondly, we learned that Ethiopia's calendar is rooted in ancient tradition, offers a unique perspective on timekeeping, blending solar and lunar cycles to mark significant events and festivals. We also learned that the primary distinction that sets the Ethiopian calendar apart is its marking of the birth of Jesus in 7 BC, compared to 1 AD in the Gregorian calendar, leading to Ethiopia being 7 to 8 years behind the rest of the world. And lastly, we learned that Ethiopia's resistance to colonial rule has contributed to the preservation and promotion of its traditional calendar, symbolizing national identity and cultural resilience for Ethiopians both on the continent and in the diaspora. Last week we asked you this. The answer is: which of the following is not part of the Horn of Africa region? Is it Eritrea, Ethiopia, Ghana, or Somalia? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and the answer will be revealed in the next episode. As we conclude today's episode, let's revisit the question: is Ethiopia truly 7 years behind the rest of the world? The answer is both yes and no. Yes, because their calendar begins 7 years behind the Gregorian calendar. And no, because time is simply just a construct shaped by human interpretation and the cultures we are in. Beyond its unique timekeeping, Ethiopia's calendar is a testament to the enduring spirit of a nation shaped by centuries of history and heritage. Ethiopia's vibrant culture, rich history, and resilience show that it is very much part of the modern world, marching forward while proudly preserving its heritage. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you've enjoyed learning about the Ethiopian calendar, which I'm sure you have, why don't you like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below, but most importantly, don't forget to subscribe for all things Africa.